Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the LFC transfer room with myself, Louis Fell. It's potentially big news tonight. You've obviously seen by the title, that is why you are here, regarding our manager, our beloved, our God, Jurgen Klopp. And some interesting news about potential contract extensions. We will get into that. First of all, a little bit of housekeeping for anybody who is new here. Well, those returning as well. Make sure that you do like this video as well. Really helps us out. Also, as I said, if you are new, please do consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. It's a great place to be, especially if you're a Liverpool fan, but also if you're just a general football fan. We've got loads of content Liverpool related, but we also do watch-alongs for all their games. Speaking of watch-alongs, immediately after this video, if you just stick around for a little bit, it will carry you straight on over to the second leg of the World Cup qualifier between Senegal and Egypt. Egypt with a 1-0 lead, led by Mohamed Salah, up against Senegal, led by Sadio Mane, looking to get back into it for a place in the World Cup in 2022. So make sure you stick around for that. But why you are all here, of course. So over the last couple of days, there have been some whispers coming out that Jurgen Klopp is, in fact, interested in signing a contract extension. So when, of course, he first joined, or a couple of years after he joined, he did make quite public that when his contract expires in 2024, he is looking to take a break from football, and that would, of course, mean leaving the club that he's been at for all this time. None of us want that to happen. I'm sure there's some trolls who maybe do want it to happen. I don't believe them for a second. They're obviously not Liverpool supporters, or they're bots, and we all know bots are highly prevalent these days on social media. But I would hazard a guess that about 95, probably 99%, but it should be 100%, of Liverpool fans want Jurgen Klopp to stay beyond 2024. There's some encouragement. I must stress, though, and this is where it's not clickbait highlight. I do assure you, this is not clickbait. There are genuine stories coming out. However, the relevancy of those sources is up for massive debate. It's not Paul Joyce. It's not Fabrizio Romano. It's not even the Liverpool Echo. It's much lower than that. But I'll give you the exact bit of news. Liverpool have opened contracts with Jurgen Klopp over a new contract. Jurgen Klopp loves the city, loves the club, and wants to bring more success to Anfield. Jurgen Klopp looks set for a contract extension. So that's it in a nutshell. There's no actual articles on this. This is just in the nose on Twitter coming out. We haven't heard much about it. Every few weeks, some journalist will ask Jurgen Klopp the question, are you looking to extend? Do you want to go beyond 2024? And he has been quite consistent on the line that I've promised my family that I'm leaving. I've promised that we're going to have more time together because, you know, with people like Klopp, with Pep Guardiola's, with Tuchel's, football, when they're in it, they are in it for the long haul. They're in it 110%. And I don't, no disrespect to other managers, but, you know, you take a Sam Allardyce, others like that. You know, they go and do their bit, and then they finish the working day at 7 o'clock or whatever. They go home and they go and do their thing. But, you know, these elite managers, the reason they are elite, not just because of their tactical nous, their brilliance of understanding the game, it's also their work rate. They live and breathe, and we've seen it. I think it's been spoken about a lot with the likes of Pep Guardiola when he left Bayern, when he left Barcelona, especially. There was talk that it's just exhausting, and that's why it kind of became a thing about. It kind of became a thing about needing to take a break, needing to step aside, because being constantly, how can I make this team better? How can I beat my next opposition? How can I continue to revolutionise this club so that it's always at the top of its game, always at the top of its leagues, always pushing for the big major trophies? That's going to take its toll. So I don't think it's a surprise that Klopp's also got that mindset, and I think that is a large part of it. And it takes him away from his family, and that is what he wants to do. Rawline, thank you for subscribing. Again, if you are new, make sure you do subscribe. Also, I will interrupt myself very briefly, because otherwise I will get killed for it. We are partnered up with Manscaped. If you use the code TR2020, video in the link in the video description below, you get 20% off and free shipping on any order from Manscaped, so please do use that as well if you are new and didn't know about it. Thank you to everybody who is joining. This is going to be quite a short, well, it's going to be a very short show because we will be moving straight into the watch-along for Senegal versus Egypt in the second leg of that World Cup qualifier. So for all the regulars, anybody who's new and likes the vibe around here, just stick on this video, and as soon as it ends, it will carry you straight over into the wait for that watch-along. And of course, then we can go through and discuss a lot more of your comments. I'll have a read of some of them in a minute, but the majority of them will have to wait until the watch-along if you decide to stick around. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Where was I? Jurgen Klopp. You know, I wanted to make this video because we obviously all want it. You know, I wasn't going to come on here with other people and have a discussion because, you know, what are you going to say? Do you want him to sign this contract? Well, yes, I do. Oh, well, brilliant, fantastic. Unfortunately, as I said, this source really, well, these sources that are coming out with it really don't have much credibility. They've been wrong on a lot of things. They've copied from others as well. It's not the best. It's not the best. But the fact that it's coming out now suggests to me that maybe there is something in it. Maybe there's some early rumblings going on. I mean, I think FSG would be stupid to not at least obviously be pushing for this, to ask Klopp and keep pestering him. The thing that I think frightens most people, Noman, thank you so much for the donation. Really appreciate it. If you carry on into the watch long, we can go off about that a bit more, but I just want to keep myself focused on this one a little bit because it is short. We are short of time. Where was I? I've lost it. Jurgen Klopp wanted to sign a new contract. That's it. Hyla, thank you. Adam, thank you for getting involved. Matthias as well, thank you. Yeah, completely lost my train of thought now. But no, that's it. We're all worried. We do all have that worry. And it's no surprise. As I said, he's an elite manager. When he goes, who do we turn to? It was a match made in heaven when he first came to the club. Everybody knew. Nobody knew exactly how far we'd go with him, but everybody knew he was just the right man at the right time. At the moment, and things can change in football very, very quickly. In 2 years, we might be sat here with Klopp, you know, going out the exit door. We might think, actually, we know exactly who we want to go for. But at the moment, it's not clear. A lot of people suggest that we just carry on in the vein of Klopp and we appoint Pep Linders as the manager afterwards. Otherwise, there's not many options that we could think of. Nagelsmann gets tossed around a lot, and I did talk about him briefly in a previous watch-along. Eric Ten Hag, but of course he looks like he's going to Man United, and I don't want scrap. Noman, nothing to apologise for if you think that was me having a go at you. I do apologise. Thank you very much for the donation, as always. I want to thank you properly, and I don't want it to get lost with me trying to rush through this. So thank you very much, but yeah, didn't mean anything by that at all. So it is a genuine fear, so I understand. And of course, we all want him to sign this contract. I genuinely, at the moment, am of the belief that if he were to leave in 2024, we would be okay with Pep Linders. I genuinely think that, and a lot of people, when you get into this argument, start making comparisons to Bill Shankly leaving and then Bob Paisley filling in and going on to become basically our most successful manager ever in terms of raw trophies. And in a way, I guess that's kind of where some of the belief comes from. But when you listen to Pep Linders, and he does do interviews sometimes, he does give his thoughts on games in place of Klopp, you can tell why people started to describe him, give him the nickname of Klopp's brain before he left. It's not said as much now, I don't think. So for me, I'd be fine. I'd be absolutely fine if he was to come in, because he gets it. He's been a part of the club culture for so long, and Klopp has created a structure, not in his own image, but his style of football, how his team operates, now ruminates through the rest of the club, all the way down to the academy, the scouting network set up to find players that suit Klopp's system. the director of football, of course, works very closely with that team as well. And then, as I said, the academy players, they're all coming through with the ability to fit in. We've seen with Tyler Morton, nothing incredible. Like he's not a generational talent at this point, but he came in and he did a brilliant job, because he's not just a good youth prospect. He's a youth prospect who's been coached in the ways of Klopp and comes into Klopp's team, and his teams are very, very good. So that's the difference again between these high elite level coaches like Guardiola's and Klopp's, and I think those two are head and shoulders above the rest. Tuchel, again, brilliant manager, but Chelsea is a much more short-sighted team, so maybe it's not the same with him. But Guardiola and Klopp, they've both had tremendous impacts on not just the current for their team, but I believe we're going to see the future generations, the futures of those clubs, very much dictated by what they've put in place. So for that reason, I think in 2024 we'd be fine. But Kris, who's another member of our channel, made a very good point that if we could get him to sign on for another couple of years, imagine the effects that could have on our future beyond Klopp. Because at some point, and I know we don't like to think about it, whether he signs this contract, whether these stories are true or not, at some point he's going to have to move on. He's going to have to retire. He's going to have to go back to Germany with his family and live a long and merry retirement. Or go to another club. Who knows? I mean, that would be horrible. I genuinely could not bear to see him manage another club. But at some point, he is going to have to do that. So really, if we could just get a couple more years out of him, imagine that even more foundations, because we're starting to move into phase 2 of this team, which we've talked about a lot. Phase 1 obviously peaked with winning the Premier League, winning the Champions League. Your Van Dijks, your Fabinhos. Trent, of course, will be part of phase 2 as well. So will those two players. I'm talking more about, I guess, Henderson, Milner, Wijnaldum's gone, your Manes, your Firminos, I hate to say it, but that's why we've brought in the likes of Jota and Diaz, and they've pretty much hit the ground running. And that's thanks to Klopp, but it's also thanks to the scouting network they've got in place, and Moneyball, which is a totally different subject. I don't want to get too much into FSG, but Moneyball is a big part of it. Unfortunately, if you're FSG out, I'm going to struggle to convince you, but Moneyball is a massive part of our success, whether you like it or not. It's not just Klopp. As much as I adore Klopp, and he is the best manager I've ever seen manage this club whilst I've been alive, he isn't a god. He is, don't get me wrong, he is a god in ways, but it's not all him. It's not a completely one-man show. He has a team around him. He has a scouting network, and they'll do things their own way as well. So getting back onto point, if we can get another couple of years out of him, imagine how well prepared we would be for life without him. Because at the moment, we've bought Jota's, we've bought Diaz's, Carvalho's another interesting one who's potentially sorted for the summer. More to come on that tomorrow, I believe, in a transfer central. Lycos has suggested Flick as well. Matthias has said, as Klopp does manage anyone else, I think it'll be the German national team. Well, that does go around quite a lot as well. I do agree with you. But essentially, we do have to prepare for life without him at some point. And it's always going to be painful. It's going to be like a Band-Aid. Sometimes you just got to rip it off. But getting back onto just to recap, because of course we are running short on time. If you stick around for this video, please make sure that you do like and subscribe. As soon as this video ends, it will take you straight over to the watch along between Senegal and Egypt, which will be with myself again. Egypt with a 1-0 lead going into the World Cup qualifying second leg. If they can hold out, they are into the World Cup. If Senegal can get a goal or two, then we're in for a show, and potentially they could be going to the World Cup. So make sure you stick around. It's going to be a great watch along. So to recap, Liverpool, apparently, according to some outside sources, which I wouldn't take with too much credibility, with a massive pinch of salt, have said Liverpool have open talks with Jurgen Klopp over a new contract. Klopp loves the club and the city and wants to bring more success to Anfield. Jurgen Klopp looks set for a contract extension. The other big point before we wrap it up is, of course, that Guardiola has also spoken about leaving around about the same time, either 23 or 24. If I was Klopp, And there's a lot of things I would do if I was Klopp. Noman, again, thank you so much. I don't know why you keep on doing it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We all do at the LFC transfer room, but you don't have to do it. But thank you all the same. If I was Klopp, there's a lot of things I would do if I was Klopp. If I hear that Guardiola's going, the man who has basically stopped me from dominating European football, European and English football, if I heard that he was out of the picture, I'd be pretty tempted to stay around for at least another couple of years, because at this point Klopp is a Liverpool legend. But I guess for him, not just him, but for all those other players as well, your Van Dijks, your Fabinhos, your Salahs, their careers have started not late, but they weren't born and bred in a winning team. They weren't automatically winning from like the age of 20, like, you know, the Barcelona, your Barcelonas, your Munichs, your Real Madrids, your Man Uniteds back in the day, your Man Cities. They've come to us in the just before the peaks or in the peaks of their career. So they've actually not got as many trophies as maybe they deserve. And that goes for Klopp as well. He's such a fantastic manager, and with the same level of investment going into his squad as Pep Guardiola had, the same ruthlessness that they can apply in terms of not worrying about selling players. They can just buy if they need to. You know, buying Nathan Ake, playing him for a couple of games, realising he's shit, and then buying Ruben Diaz just because you can. If he was able to do that, I think, you know, he would have more trophies. But to now know that Guardiola would be stepping aside, I think that's a great initiative for Klopp to stick around. But hey, that's just my opinion. That's what I would do if I was Klopp. But essentially, thank you very much, everybody, for joining. We will now take you straight over to the watch-along, which I'll be on very, very shortly. So stick around, like the video, subscribe, and it should take you straight over to the watch-along, which will start very, very shortly. So thank you very, very much for getting involved, everybody. Apologies I couldn't read all of your comments. But that is the lowdown on this new news that Klopp may well be offered a new contract extension very, very soon. And I'm sure we'll follow that very closely. This has been the LFC Transfer Room with myself, Louis Fell.